What happens to Annie Wilkes at the end of Misery? Have you ever wondered what happens to a character whose obsession spirals out of control? In the horror thriller Misery, Annie Wilkes is a prime example of this. At the end of the story, Annie meets a dramatic fate after a violent confrontation with Paul Sheldon, the author she has been holding captive. Throughout the narrative, Annie is depicted as an extremely obsessive fan. Her fixation on Paul leads her to force him to rewrite his novel series to fit her desires. This obsession quickly turns cruel, as she physically cripples Paul to maintain control over him. As the story builds to its climax, the tension reaches a boiling point. Paul finally manages to turn the tables in their deadly struggle. In a desperate fight for his life, he kills Annie, bringing an end to her reign of terror. This moment serves as a release from her obsessive control and violent behavior. After her death, the story jumps ahead by 18 months. We see Paul trying to live a freer life, although he is still haunted by the trauma of his experience. He is shown out to lunch with his agent, indicating he is moving forward in his career. However, the shadow of Annie's obsession lingers. A dessert tray being pushed toward him acts as a haunting reminder of her presence. From a horror movie perspective, Annie Wilkes embodies the archetype of the obsessive and psychotic villain. Her love for Paul transforms into a deadly fixation, showcasing the terrifying side of fandom taken to an extreme. Her character represents the nightmare of being trapped by a fan's dangerous obsession. The conclusion of her story is not just a physical end, but also a thematic closure to the horror of being controlled by someone else's madness. Annie's character is complex, shaped by past trauma and mental illness, which contributes to her volatile behavior. Her unique presentation and repressed desires add layers to her rage and obsession, making her a disturbingly memorable villain. Thus, her death is a resolution of both psychological horror and physical danger. In the end, Annie Wilkes dies at the hands of Paul after a fierce struggle, marking the end of her control and violence. This final act frees Paul and concludes the story's exploration of toxic obsession and madness within the horror framework.